Level 1. Subtle Suggestion, Breaking the Senses. Let's start with the very first and lightest level of Genjutsu. Level 1 is all about disruption. It's like a whisper in the dark, or a quick flash in the corner of your vision, just enough to throw you off balance, just enough to make you second guess what's real. This isn't about big flashy illusions yet. It's more like a sharp little jab at your peace of mind. Look at the iconic battle between Kakashi and Zabuza. Using his Sharingan, Kakashi cast a very simple Genjutsu that made Zabuza believe Kakashi could see the future. For a second, Zabuza thought Kakashi had launched the Water Dragon bullet before he did. That wasn't some complex magic. It was a clean, subtle strike to mess with Zabuza's head. Or remember when Sasuke first met Sai? One intense stare, just one, and Sai dropped to the ground without anyone even touching him. That's the power of basic Genjutsu. It doesn't need to be dramatic. It just needs to be strong enough to shake the opponent's confidence. These techniques quietly target your subconscious. They suggest a world that feels slightly off. They feed on uncertainty, which is especially easy to trigger when two opponents don't know each other well yet. It's that weird, uncomfortable feeling, like you know something's wrong, but you just can't tell what it is. And that's the danger. Even a tiny crack in your awareness can totally lead to a mental domino effect. If you can make your enemy hesitate first, even just for a second, you gain the upper hand. Level 1. Genjutsu may seem simple, but that's exactly what makes it powerful. Still, this level mostly works on opponents who are weaker than you, or around your level. It's too soft to use against someone way stronger, because strong opponents tend to be very confident, and confident people are way harder to scare. Level 2. Calculated Distraction, Manipulating the Environment and Basic Senses. Now we move into Level 2, the point where Genjutsu really starts to show its power. This is where it evolves from just disrupting your focus into carefully calculated distraction. At this level, illusions become more visible, more real, but still stay within what your brain can accept as expected. There are quite a few techniques at this stage. Take demonic illusion, false surroundings technique for example. This Genjutsu casts a visual illusion over a whole area, making it look like a completely different place. It's super effective. Anyone who enters the area gets caught in the illusion and sees a fake environment. Totally confusing. Then there's the Sly Mind Affect technique. This one makes you think you're walking in a straight line, when in reality, you're just walking in circles. Like literally, just going round and round. And most of the time, the victims don't even realize it. Team 7 only figured it out after seeing the same dead centipede Naruto had killed hours ago. That's classic Genjutsu, messing with your senses just enough to waste your time and energy. And now, let's talk about the Mist Servant technique, a Genjutsu that many ninjas totally underestimate until it's too late. This jutsu creates creepy, ghost-like shadow figures from the surrounding environment. They move slowly toward the target, provoking them to attack. But here's the scary part. Every time you hit one, your attack just passes through like it's air. And then, instead of disappearing, the shadow doubles. This is pure psychological warfare. Even when your brain knows it's not real, your survival instinct still tells you to keep fighting. Each useless attack drains your stamina, burns your focus, and makes you panic just a little more. Meanwhile, the real ninja is hiding nearby, patiently waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Imagine fighting an enemy you can't touch, but your mind believes they're a real threat. It creates this totally helpless and disoriented feeling. Weak-willed people might completely freak out, but strong fighters will pause, adapt, and look for the trick behind the illusion. Level 2. Genjutsu is all about distraction and erosion. It doesn't try to crush you right away, it slowly wears you down. Like a lone wolf in the shadows, it's quiet, strategic, and always waiting for the right moment to pounce. Kinda ninja-like thing, isn't it? Level 3. Personal Lockdown Genjutsu. Now we're diving into the real core of Genjutsu. Techniques that don't just distract you, they trap you. They shut you down. Let's look at the moment when Kurenai faced off against Itachi. Kurenai, a jonin who actually specializes in Genjutsu, confidently used the tree-binding death technique to hold Itachi in place. To be fair, this Genjutsu can be super effective in one-on-one fights, for interrogation, or even for surprise attacks. For a moment, massive tree branches wrapped around Itachi, locking him down. The only problem was that she used it on Itachi, a literal Genjutsu god. So of course, it didn't work, and he reversed it on her without even blinking. But nothing shows this level better than the time Itachi faced Orochimaru. With just one look, Itachi completely froze Orochimaru, one of the legendary Sannin, in place. Orochimaru felt like huge heavy stakes were pinning his body to the ground. He literally couldn't move. It was total suppression, like his entire soul had been frozen in time. And when he did try to break free, Itachi calmly walked over and took one of his arms. At this point, Genjutsu isn't just messing with your senses. It's becoming direct combat. It's used to control, not just confuse. Escaping this level of Genjutsu? That takes serious skill and serious mental strength. Only powerful ninjas with strong minds can push through it. Level 3. Genjutsu is all about full lockdown. It doesn't waste time. It hits fast, hard, and leaves no room to breathe. Level 4. Emotional manipulation, spreading fear and despair. Now we've stepped into the most dangerous territory of Genjutsu, where illusion becomes a brutal psychological weapon. This level doesn't just trick your senses, it breaks your mind and crushes your heart. At this stage, Genjutsu masters don't fight you with power. They make you fall apart from the inside. One early example is when Kakashi used the demonic illusion, hell viewing technique on Sakura. Kakashi knew she cared deeply about Sasuke, so he showed her a vivid illusion of Sasuke dying right in front of her. That fear, pulled from the deepest part of her soul, was pushed to the extreme. It was too much. She passed out instantly. A bit more subtle, but even more painful, was when Itachi used ephemeral on Naruto. Under the Genjutsu, Naruto saw the people he loved the most appear all over his body, yelling at him, blaming him, shaming him. It tore him apart from the inside. The guilt hit so hard, he even started attacking himself. No one touched them. No one laid a hand on them. But they still felt attacked. They felt abandoned, helpless, and completely overwhelmed by emotions they couldn't control. That's the terrifying beauty of Level 4 Genjutsu. It doesn't break your body. It makes you break yourself. Level 5. Creating a perfect illusionary world. Level 4 was already terrifying, but even then, you could still break free with enough willpower or with help from your teammates. But with Itachi's Tsukuyomi, there's no escape. This Genjutsu deserves its own level. When Itachi used Tsukuyomi on Kakashi and Sasuke, what we saw was more than just an illusion. It was a fully crafted masterpiece of mental torture. Inside Tsukuyomi, Itachi becomes a god. He can control everything, even time itself. A few real-world seconds stretch into days of intense, personal suffering. Kakashi experienced hour after hour of pain, stabbed endlessly by long blades, all inside his mind. He didn't just see the pain, he felt every second of it. His body couldn't move, but his mind was trapped in an infinite loop of agony. For Sasuke, it was even worse. He had to watch the massacre of his entire clan, again and again, hundreds of thousands of times. But Itachi didn't stop at visuals. Sasuke could smell the blood, hear the final breaths, and feel the cold presence of death. He lived every moment in brutal detail. That's the terrifying strength of Tsukuyomi. It doesn't just show you horror, it forces you to live it. At this point, Genjutsu becomes a complete world of its own, fully ruled by the caster. The victim doesn't just see illusions, they fully experience them, like it's part of their real life. When Kakashi and Sasuke finally escaped the illusion, they weren't just physically drained. They were deeply damaged, mentally and emotionally. And there's no counter Genjutsu for Tsukuyomi. There's no way to break it mid-cast. The only option is rest, recovery, and healing from the trauma it leaves behind. In fact, the only known person who could even ease the pain caused by Tsukuyomi was Tsunade. Level 6. Mind Control. Rewriting personal history. This is where Genjutsu stops targeting what you see or feel, and starts invading your memories and your will. At this level, the illusion doesn't just fool you, it redefines you. It's terrifying, because once your entire consciousness is rewritten, even the question, "Who are you?" becomes impossible to answer. Kotoa Matsukami, used by Shisui Uchiha, is the absolute peak of dark psychological warfare. It doesn't force anyone to do something. Instead, it plants an idea so deeply inside their mind that they genuinely believe it's their own. They act with full intention and complete sincerity, as if this new goal was always their deepest motivation. Most genjutsu makes the victim resist, at least a little, but not this one. The target doesn't even know they've been manipulated. There's nothing to fight against, because from their point of view, everything feels real. This genjutsu has only been used twice, and honestly, its control was stronger than even perfect Edo Tensei. Of course, Kotoa Matsukami isn't the only mind control technique used by the Uchiha. Some are less refined, but still dangerously effective. When Obito used Genjutsu to manipulate the fourth Mizukage, we saw what happens when someone's history is completely rewritten. Yagura, once a kind and capable leader, became a cruel dictator. The Hidden Mist entered a bloody era, ruled by fear and death. During that time, Yagura was just a hollow puppet, carrying the blame for everything Obito did behind the scenes. Another chilling example, when Obito and Madara used Genjutsu to control the Nine Tails during the attack on Konoha. Some people say this was more like direct control than illusion, but that's not entirely true. Kurama is a living, thinking being with his own will. And yet, under this Genjutsu, he became a full puppet, acting completely against his instincts. His identity and intentions were overridden. You can even see it in his eyes. When controlled, they change to the Sharingan pattern. Only when the Genjutsu is broken do his eyes return to normal. This level of Genjutsu defines the victim using false memories and fake beliefs, and the worst part is, they never realize it. It's tragic, and honestly, it explains why someone like Kasame would rather die for a world built on truth, no matter how painful that truth is, and for that, he's deeply respected. Level 7. Reality Sync, turning illusion into reality. This is where the line between illusion and reality completely disappears. We're talking about reality synchronization, the ability to turn illusions into reality, and reality into illusion. Yeah, this is Izanagi. Izanagi is a forbidden technique used only by those with the Sharingan. At this point, it's no longer Genjutsu in the traditional sense. Izanagi actually rewrites reality itself. When Danzo used it, his death became an illusion, and his survival became the truth. Just imagine, for one moment you die. But because of Izanagi, that death becomes nothing more than a bad dream. You wake up, you're alive, you're fine. The only cost is that you permanently lose the Sharingan you just used. But that cost isn't small, because the Sharingan is the very source of so many powerful illusions, including all the Genjutsu levels we've discussed before. That's why even Madara, who lived for centuries and knew every jutsu under the sun, only used Izanagi when absolutely necessary. The price makes Izanagi a desperate last resort weapon, a final gamble to stay alive. And from that power, we got some of the most insane plot twists. Danzo's fake-out death, Obito's comeback during his fight with Konan Madara's resurrection in full prime overpowered? Definitely. Even the legendary jutsu genius Tobirama got played by this technique. But whenever we talk about Izanagi, we have to talk about Izanami too. Izanami was created specifically to punish those who abused Izanagi. If Izanagi lets you rewrite fate, then Izanami traps you in a loop of fate. Kabuto experienced it firsthand. He was caught in an endless time loop, forced to face himself over and over again. Izanami doesn't kill you. It makes you live with the truth of who you are. That truth, for many, is harder to face than death. Technically, Izanami is just a one-target controlled genjutsu, but it's so unique that no outsider can break it. And the twist? There is a way out, but the exit is inside the illusion, and only the victim can find it. That's why this level is only for those who are truly alone in their power. Like the Uchiha clan, shinobi who carry strength that scales with their suffering. Their power always matched their will. And that's the tragic beauty of these legendary warriors, the descendants of Indra. Level 8. Wide Area Illusion. This is the level for those who can fight the world alone. Level 8 is when a ninja becomes a true overlord of the battlefield. It's no longer just one-on-one. Now, you turn the entire combat zone into your personal stage. One flute tune, one chant, one wave of darkness, and the whole world becomes yours. Let's start with Tayuya, from the Sound 4. All she needed was her cursed flute. With her demonic flute phantom sound chains, she trapped Shikamaru in a disturbing illusion. He couldn't move, couldn't think clearly, his body froze, and his mind spiraled into chaos. Now imagine if there were 10 Shikamarus, or 100. They'd all fall just the same. She only lost because Tamari showed up, and, well, win kinda hard counters sound. Then we have the two elder toads, Fukasaku and Shima. Their frog song is an ancient sage art, a duet that channels nature energy into a genjutsu so powerful, it can paralyze any opponent. Their synchronized voices send chakra straight into the enemy's brain, short-circuiting their senses. Breaking free? Almost impossible without high-tier abilities. Kabuto, meanwhile, was more elegant. During the Chunin exams, he used Temple of Nirvana technique to put an entire stadium to sleep. All it took was a rain of illusory feathers, soft, silent, and terrifyingly effective. Only elite shinobi like Kakashi and Guy could resist. That's a large-scale genjutsu, refined, efficient, and it's an A-rank jutsu, no joke. And then there's Hashirama, the first Hokage. His Bringer of Darkness technique blanketed entire areas in pure darkness. It blinded everyone inside, making them panic, disoriented, and vulnerable. And guess who his opponent was? Uchiha Madara, wielder of some of the most broken dojutsu in history. This jutsu completely neutralized visual powers like Sharingan and Rinnegan and Byakugan. Now, the anime gave this jutsu to Tobirama instead, probably to boost his image as the ultimate Uchiha Slayer. But in the manga, it's 100% Hashirama's technique. Also, Hashirama could enter Sage Mode, so he had no trouble fighting in complete darkness. That's what makes him so insanely dangerous at this level. Level 8 isn't about finesse anymore. It's about turning entire armies into playthings. It's the power to control crowds, collapse formations, and dominate the battlefield. In this world, you're not just a shinobi, you're the director, and everyone else is just part of your illusion. Level 9, Infinite Tsukuyomi, the Final Dream. We've now reached the ultimate level of Genjutsu, Infinite Tsukuyomi. At this point, it's no longer just a technique. It's a full-scale reconstruction of reality. Once it's activated, the entire shinobi world is swallowed into an eternal dream. This is the most powerful genjutsu ever created, not because of how it attacks one mind, but because it targets all of humanity. Everyone is trapped inside their own personal illusion, a perfect dream where every wish comes true. Shino discovers new insects. Asuma is still alive, guiding Team 10. The people they lost all return. It sounds peaceful, but that's exactly what makes it so terrifying. Even Itachi's Tsukuyomi, when used on Izumi, only showed her a beautiful life that he imagined. Infinite Tsukuyomi is far more dangerous. It reaches into the deepest desires of each victim and builds a custom-made world around them. Each person ends up isolated, locked inside a dream of their own making. No pain, no effort, no need to grow, just comfort. And the scariest part, you may choose to be locked inside, Madara truly believed this was his final gift to mankind. He thought he was saving the world from war, grief, and loss. And honestly, it really makes sense. That's what makes him one of the greatest villains in shonen history. But real strength doesn't come from hiding. It comes from facing pain, choosing reality, and continuing to fight anyway. Choose the real world and live, even if it hurts. Because that's what it means to be a warrior. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.